Welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful day of Mission Impossible Special Agent of Change. This is your Special Agent of Change, George Montgomery here. And I wanted to bring you something that's near and dear to my heart, a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And I call this subject storm season. Most of us right now are going through a storm season. We're either in the midst of a storm, just coming out of a storm, or we're heading into a storm. And for the people, let me clarify this real quick. The first two are easy. You know when you're coming out of a storm. You know when you're in the midst of a storm. But if you're not in those two categories, guess what? You're headed to a storm because life is full of ups and downs, just like a roller coaster. Life is full of storm seasons. Some are minor, some are major. I want to share with you right now one of the major storms that happened in my life and how it got me off track, and from that storm that I learned something special. My worst storm ever happened September 2009. I got a phone call from my sister that said, hey, our brother has been in an accident, and from this accident my whole life changed. This is personal to me, so if you hear me tear up, if you see me tear up, my voice cracks, that's okay, because storm seasons hurt sometimes. Sometimes we go through hurt and we have to learn from something that has hurt us. My storm season that day was painful. But that was just the start of the storm. My brother was killed in a car accident. I lived in Virginia. My family's from South Carolina. And the whole drive going down to Virginia, I was praying. I was calling people who was more into the church than me to get spiritual and comfort that I needed, spiritual and emotional comfort that I needed at that time. Are you going through a storm? I remember everything vividly from that day. When I finally got to South Carolina, I officially heard the bad news that they called my brother dead at the scene. That wasn't even the eye of the storm. The worst part of my storm season that day was, or matter of fact, it wasn't even that day. It was that week. I call it the worst week ever. Was when I finally got to see my brother and see him there, not laughing at me, not smiling at me, not cracking jokes on me, but to see him lifeless, 24 years old. My storm season was there. My mother and my father and my sister, we all came together as one to confront each other because all of us was hurting. All of us were hurting in a different way. The most painful part of that whole week was two parts. One was seeing my mother cry. For me having to be the strong person that day of the funeral, that's hurtful. But to see her cry as a male, it pulls on all different strings in your heart. All. First, you don't want to see your mother cry. Second, as a man, you should never want to see a woman cry. That day, when we took his final ride and placed my brother into the ground, that was a tough day. But most of us, we don't realize that when we're in the midst of the storm, that's not always the most painful part. The most painful part is the recovery, is coming out of the storm. The storm season, as I call it. The longest part of a storm season is the part when you're coming out of a storm. You still got the emotional, the mental, sometimes the physical healing that needs to happen. What I want to tell you right now is that this is what I learned. Sometimes when you're going through your storm, you have to grow through. You have to go through in order to get to your peace. You have to go through your storm to get to the love. You have to go through your storm to get to the comfort. We went through a storm. Sometimes the storms are placed upon us. Sometimes the storms we cause unto ourselves. The hardest part of a storm is when you have to go through. Sometimes you have to go through this alone. Sometimes you can go through it when your friends will come. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your pastor, your assistant pastor. Sometimes they'll help you through parts of it, but they won't help you through all of it. They're not going to be there every single time. They're not going to know what's going through your mind. I want to tell you right now that it gets better. Even when you go through your storm, it gets better. What I learned from my storm when I went through was that I couldn't be sad forever. That's not what my brother wanted from me. What he wanted from me was he wanted us to be successful. Learn from your storm. Learn from your storm. Get stronger from your storm. In my case, I can't get better from this. I can't prevent anything like this. Life happens. How will you get through your storm? Find someone to talk to. Go and read whatever you believe. Find comfort. Know that this person that you love, if it's a funeral, if it's somebody a loved one that passed away, they know that you love them. Find solace in that. Then the best thing you can do, if somebody passes away, is to live life to the fullest, because that's what they wanted from you. Be better. Be better for them. Be better because that's what they wanted from you. And more importantly, that's what you wanted from them. Control your thoughts. Control your emotions. Talk. Let it go. I cried more than anybody I know. Cry. Let it go. Go through your storm. Feel the emotions. Go through your storm. And I guarantee you, when you make it out on that other end, you will feel a little better. And each day you will feel a little better. Don't forget them. Continue to do what you need to do and go through your storm in order to get to the other end and out. This is your boy. This is George Montgomery, your special agent of change, coming from you about the worst storm that I ever went through. And remember, you got to go through in order to get to your destination. Thank you. And until next time.